This story isn't just about basketball. It's about the exact moment one rookie looked the entire WNBA in the eye and refused to play by their rules. 6 little words, that's all it took. 6 words that turned frustration into a firestorm and flipped the balance of power in women's basketball. The league thought they could shrug her off. Just another rookie whining about the refs, right? Wrong. Those words hit like a bullet, not just sparking controversy, but setting off chaos, retaliation, and a chain reaction that's still shaking the WNBA today. But here's the thing. To really understand why her words cut so deep, you've got to see the cracks that were already spreading through the league. The WNBA wasn't in control, it was unraveling. Night after night, officiating became a circus. Fans weren't just frustrated, they were furious. Players weren't just annoyed, they were calling it out loud in public. Angel Reese called it diabolical. Kelsey Plum said it was absurd. Even coaches, usually forced to bite their tongues, started speaking up, paying fines just for saying what everyone else could see. And how did the league respond? Not with solutions, not with accountability. Instead, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert doubled down. Her response? No winning team complains about officiating. Let that sink in. She wasn't just brushing off criticism, she was insulting the very stars keeping her league alive. The message was clear. Your safety doesn't matter. Your respect doesn't matter. Your voice doesn't matter. Just shut up and play. And that's the environment Caitlin Clark walked into, a league on fire and leadership pouring on more gasoline. But here's the twist. Caitlin Clark was never built to be just another rookie. From the second she touched the court, her numbers were jaw-dropping. And that's when everything changed. A 55% spike in league viewership. Over a quarter of the WNBA's entire economy tied directly to one player. Caitlin Clark wasn't just part of the business model, she was the business model. And everybody knew it. But then came the injury. For most rookies, that's downtime. Rest, rehab, cross your fingers, and hope to get back fast. Clark, she chose something nobody expected. Sources say she didn't spend those weeks studying opponents. She studied the refs. Every whistle, every missed call, every single pattern. She wasn't frustrated, she was calculating. Building what insiders described as her own case file against the league itself. Because Caitlin Clark realized something brutal. She wasn't just battling defenders on the floor. She was battling the very system that was supposed to protect her. And when she finally decided to speak, she didn't blow up at a press conference. She waited. She chose her stage. And when she dropped those 6 words, the league froze. No fine, no press release, no official statement, nothing. And here's the part nobody saw coming. That silence, it was louder than any punishment. Because in sports, silence is confession. By refusing to act, the WNBA basically admitted what they could never say out loud. Caitlin Clark had them cornered. If they punished her, she'd become a martyr, the rookie who took on the system. If they defended their refs, they'd risk alienating the one player carrying the league into the spotlight. So they tried to wait it out. But the fire didn't burn out, it grew. And suddenly, silence became proof. Proof that the league had no control, no backbone, no authority. Worse, it sent a message to everyone watching. Caitlin Clark is fair game. That kind of message doesn't just fade, it festers. Because when leadership refuses to protect its biggest star, the court stops being a game. It becomes an open battlefield, and the very next time Clark stepped back on the hardwood, you could feel it in the air. The crowd knew. The players knew. The refs especially knew. Her 6 words were still echoing, hanging over the arena like a storm cloud. And every single whistle, or lack of one, wasn't just a call anymore. It was a test. Would the officials protect the league's brightest star, or would they prove her right in front of the entire world? It didn't take long for the answer. C.Sheldon drove in and delivered a shot straight to Clark's face. Not a bump, not a hard contest. An outright strike. Dangerous, obvious, impossible to miss. And yet, after review, just a flagrant one. A slap on the wrist for a hit that could have sidelined her all over again. Moments later, Marina McBride shoved Clark with both hands, sending her crashing to the floor. No play on the ball, no basketball move, just violence. And the punishment, nothing meaningful. No ejection, no real consequence. When questioned later, crew chief Ashley Gloss actually defended it. She said it didn't rise to the level of an ejection, but here's the truth. The fans saw it, the players saw it, the whole world saw it, and everyone knew this wasn't rookie treatment. This wasn't toughness. This was targeted. This was personal. And the irony? By letting it happen, the referees didn't just punish Caitlin Clark, they proved her right. The incompetence, the bias, the lack of protection, everything she had been warning about, exposed in front of millions. The message was clear. Caitlin Clark was on her own, but here's the twist. She wasn't. Not anymore. When the refs refused to protect her, someone else stepped in, and that someone was Sophie Cunningham. Late in the game, after watching Clark take hit after hit with no real whistle, Cunningham finally snapped. On a drive to the basket, C.Sheldon went up for a layup, and Cunningham dragged her straight to the floor. No hesitation, no apology. This wasn't basketball. This was a statement. That moment wasn't about the score. It wasn't about the opponent. It was about sending a warning shot to the referees themselves. If you won't protect our star, then we will. And Cunningham didn't bother hiding it afterward. She said what every fan had been screaming for years. The refs had built this mess by refusing to protect the league's biggest names. No excuses, no sugarcoating, just the truth. She didn't sugarcoat it. She called it what it was, payback. And in that instant, Caitlin Clark's 6 words stopped being just a statement. They became a movement. It wasn't Clark versus the league anymore. Her teammates had stepped into the fight, turning silence into retaliation, and retaliation into a rallying cry. The WNBA wanted Clark to shut up and play. Instead, they got an entire team willing to fight back, in front of the cameras, in front of the fans, on the biggest stage. That game against the Connecticut Sun didn't just expose Clark to dangerous fouls, it exposed the referees themselves. For years, officials had been able to hide. Blame it on the heat of the moment. Call it part of the game. But not that night. Under the bright lights, with millions watching, Ashley Gloss and her crew had a choice: protect the game's integrity or protect their pride. They chose pride. They downgraded an obvious shot to the face. They brushed off a blatant two-handed shove. And in doing so, they didn't just fail. Caitlin Clark. They proved her right. From that night forward, those officials weren't remembered for championships or big calls. They were remembered for losing control, for letting ego outweigh player safety, for turning a national stage into undeniable evidence of a broken system. And here's the thing about stains like that, they don't wash out. Once players and fans believe the refs are compromised, trust is gone. And in sports, when trust disappears, so does authority. Clark didn't destroy those officials with her words. They destroyed themselves by showing the world she was right. And with every replay, every slow-motion clip blasted across social media, their reputation sank deeper. But here's the twist. This wasn't just about one crew, one game, or even one night. What came next proved it wasn't an isolated failure. It was systemic, a league-wide problem. Not just a meltdown, but the symptom of something much darker. A system that looks broken at best and complicit at worst. Because the numbers don't lie. Legal analysts crunched the data and found something chilling. Caitlin Clark, one player, has absorbed 17% of all flagrant fouls in the entire WNBA this season. 17%. That's not random. That's not rookie initiation. That's a target. And when you stack that number against the league's silence, the picture only gets darker. A commissioner who shrugs off complaints, refs who minimize blatant aggression, and one rookie taking more dangerous fouls than anyone else. At that point, you have to ask the question nobody wants to say out loud. Is this incompetence, or is it strategy? Are rival teams being allowed, maybe even encouraged, to wear Clark down physically, knowing the league will turn a blind eye? That's why Clark's 6 words mattered so much. She didn't just call out a bad whistle, she cracked the facade. She showed fans, players, even referees themselves, that the foundation of the league isn't solid. It's fragile, it's crumbling. And here's the domino effect. Once one player proves the system can be challenged, others will follow. This isn't Clark versus the refs anymore. This is a fight for the soul of the WNBA, who really holds the power. The league office, or the players who make the league worth watching. Caitlin Clark just showed everyone how to fire the first shot. She didn't just throw a punch at the system, she exposed how breakable it really is. 6 words turned into a movement. Silence turned into chaos, and the league's authority cracked under the weight of its own failures. But here's the question nobody at the top wants to face. What happens when she's not the only one? What happens when other stars realize they don't have to play by the league's rules? When they see that speaking out doesn't weaken them, it makes them stronger. What happens when referees step on the court, already knowing that fans, players, and media don't trust them anymore? That's not a controversy. That's a power shift, and it's happening in real time. Caitlin Clark fired the first shot, but the war for control of the WNBA, that's only just beginning. And the damage, that's only the beginning too.